Hi, I'm Sophia Bernard, the creator of Esquire in Love.
And I'm Dr. Shari Calicker, the creator of Dr. Mrs. And
together we are the
Huxtabelles. So excited. So excited. I've been waiting for this moment for
a long time. This has been a long time coming.
Yes,
so
for sure.
Real quick, we met in trap yoga.
Yes.
We had a common friend. And he mentioned us, but I think he wrote on your comment on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, my friend is at the same event," and then we both responded, and then Shari came and met me at brunch, and we just like hit it off, and then we ran into each other at the Jay-Z concert.
Yes,
and if you're a fan of Jay-Z, you're okay in my book.
Fan of ours, okay.
Anyone who likes Jay-Z is real,
for sure. Especially Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z. Okay, if you don't go back that far,
If Can I Live is not your favorite, then we need to have a conversation.
We do, because that is our favorite. That is something we bonded over. All right. So do you want to tell the people a little bit about you?
Yeah. So real quick, I am a corporate attorney here in Jacksonville. I work for a corporation. I'm in-house. I'm their attorney. I kind of just guide the corporation and make sure that we're going in the right direction. I'm the cliche girl who's always wanted to be a lawyer. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer since I was in high school. So I kind of like geared my life towards that. And actually, like my 8th grade yearbook says lawyer underneath of it. Real corny, but this is a true story. I love writing. I love traveling. So I started the blog Esquire in Love. And it's kind of how me and Shari bonded, because she's also a blogger. So if you want to, a little bit about me.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Shari Calicker, originally from the DMV area. For those that are not familiar, that's the DC, Maryland, Virginia. PG County to be exact. I am a family medicine physician here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I started Dr. Mrs. Well, I'm married, first of all. My husband is Donovan Calicker. We have a fur baby, Marley. I started Dr. Mrs. originally with someone else that ended up with just me, which is great. But really just started it because, we all kind of go through life. A lot of us are just winging it. So I decided to share the lessons that I've learned with other people, be it health, relationships, and everything in between. I'm kind of an open book and I love to talk. So I decided to start Dr. Mrs. And then Sophia and I met and we were like, hey, we should do something together. And thus the Huxtabelles was born. So
I mean, what's better than a doctor and lawyer together?
I mean, what's better? Okay. So, all right. So, first we're going to start off with our wine of the week. So this week was my turn to bring wine this week, guys. So I am bringing a Sauvignon Blanc from Cooper's Hawk. If you have not been to a Cooper's Hawk, you need to go as soon as possible. I have not had a bad wine from this place. Every wine there is so delicious. And everyone that I've brought here and taken them to Cooper's Hawk, they absolutely love it. So this is what we're drinking today. It's crisp. It's summer. It's
very
delicious.
Refreshing. It's not too dry, but it's not like sweet. It's really refreshing. And Cooper Hawks definitely they have really good wine. I've never had a bad wine.
Yes. And they have really good food too. Yeah. So if you haven't made your way over to the restaurant, it's delicious. But that's what we're drinking today is the Sauvignon Blanc. So usually So I'm usually not really a white girl. I usually like reds. Okay, that came out wrong. So I'm usually like more of red wines, drier red wines and rosés. But this white is actually very enjoyable. It's a little drier as well, but it still has some kind of fruity undertones. I would probably drink it with like a chicken, like kind of chicken salad-ish dish, or like a fresh shrimp kind of pasta type thing. Like that's probably what I would drink it with.
I like white. I'm a Pinot Grigio. That's my favorite drink. And it's giving me those vibes a little bit. It's not as dry as Pinot, but it definitely has a little bit of fruit in it. which probably would make a really good sangria base.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say sangria. This would make a perfect sangria wine. Yeah. So if you're having a cookout or barbecue or a housewarming party, like girl, this would be a great
anything like that's sure. a good
sangria wine.
Actually, I think I made like when I had my housewarming, I think I did use like a Sauvignon Blanc to make it with like white grapes and mangoes, and it was super.
That sounds good. Yeah. I think the time I used the sangria, it was like a red wine. And there was a lot of crazy things in that sangria, but
you need liquor in your sangria. I personally like to put bourbon and whiskey in mine.
What was in my sangria? And it was actually very delicious. So, but this would be good for like a white sangria.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed it. So, all right.
So
are you ready?
Today's topic
You ready to get into the topic?
Yep. It's I hate you so much right now.
Yipes.
And it's about relationships and just, sometimes it's not all peaches and cream. They get on your nerves.
Yes. So, basically we really just wanted to talk about like, being in relationships, like she said, it's not all peaches and cream. So, when the roses aren't smelling so fresh, like how do you get through those moments? What type of...
It's just like, in a relationship, a lot of things kind of just, everyone gets on your nerves. Like, I feel like I get on my own nerves sometimes. And sometimes, admittedly, I take pleasure in getting on his nerves. But it's really, because, those little like small arguments, they can turn into like a really like big deal. And I've had that happen where, we're arguing about like whose turn is it to buy the wine or something like, that's not really specific, but just something stupid like that. Mm-hmm. And then it turns into, well, you never did this.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And it's just at some point, for the sake of your relationship, you kind of have to just walk away from that argument and not walk into like the pitfalls of like bringing up like old stuff that doesn't really matter anymore. And just like, pretty much telling your partner that they suck. That's really what those arguments end up like. You suck because X, Y, and Z. And you really shouldn't do that, because at the end of the day, like words matter and they kind of stick with you. And like, if your partner like wakes up one day and he's like, damn, like she thinks I suck. Like, why are we doing this? You don't really want that to happen. So I think, when you can't stand when you really hate your partner in that moment, you really just have to find like a common ground.
Can't
and
stand,
just
really hate.
And sometimes they're just breathing and you're like, why are you breathing like that? Like, yes. You just stop. Yes. You gotta walk away.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. So is that something that you went into the relationship feeling like these are things that I should be doing? Or is it like something that you learned like while you were in the relationship? Like, do you start off like going off and then you're like, you know what? I don't need to be like this. Or
I think what do you think? It's learned because like, when you're in the heat of the moment, you kind of just say whatever and you just argue. But then in the morning you wake up and you start regretting the stuff that you said and you feel bad because personally, sometimes like when I get really mad, like I throw around the breakup or like, let's just, go do your own thing. I'm out of this thing. Yeah. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh wait, like I didn't mean that. I was just like really mad. So like, it's just like for me, like I had to realize like, I don't want to keep regretting what I say just because I'm mad. So I just had to like, come to Jesus, like, okay, like I'm upset. Let's argue constructively, but I'm not going to keep throwing around the breakup word because like maybe that really is going to cause a breakup and it's going to ruin the relationship. Yeah. So just learning how to control those emotions, because you're going to get mad, but you should never, when you're mad, your first instinct shouldn't be to walk away. It should be to try to like, okay, what's the real issue here? What are we really arguing about? Let's figure that out and then try to maneuver that.
Yeah. And I'll say like for me, like when, Donovan and I first started dating, like that was one of the things that like really attracted me to him was like whenever, because we didn't like argue for a while. And then when we finally had our first argument, like we were kind of going back and forth. And then he was like, So, like, how are we going to fix it? Like, what are we going to do? That was the first time anyone had ever stopped the argument, just to be like, okay, we're going back and forth. We're not getting anywhere. So what are we going to do about it? Like, what are we going to do about it? And so, like, that's why I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like,
right.
we're actually going to fix something. This is dope. We're not just going to yell at each other.
So since, I mean, you're married. I'm not married yet.
Yeah.
And we're not living together. So when I get mad, I could just go home. Yeah. How do you guys handle it, like living under the same roof?
So, I mean, a lot of times, like I said, in the beginning, that's why I asked you the question, like, did you know from the beginning or did you kind of have to learn? Like, and it was something that I kind of had to learn from the beginning, like, okay, I know that I don't want this relationship to end. So, like, let me kind of try to say things, still be able to speak my piece and be like who I want to be. But say it in a way and communicate in a way that is effective, which I'm still working on. I'm not perfect by any means. But especially like when we moved in together, it was so tough because it's like you said, you can't leave and go anywhere. Like you can't go back to your apartment if you're mad. Like y'all got to figure it out. So, we usually just take a break. Like you go downstairs, I'll be upstairs. And then like whenever you're ready, like, and it will usually be like a good amount of time, like 30 minutes, an hour or so. Like we'll just be in our own separate spaces. And I'm usually upstairs in the bedroom. So like when he comes upstairs to the room, like that's when we kind of talk about it, like respectfully and really try to get to the bottom of it. And if we can't, then, we really do try not to go to bed mad at each other. But sometimes you just can't. You can't see eye to eye before you go to bed. Yeah. So sometimes, I might just be sleeping on your shoulder mad. Like
that's why honestly,
you know what I'm saying? But
I mean, when I get another home, like I really want to have a man cave because that's where you need to go. Yeah. Leave me alone for like 2 hours or more.
Yeah.
And go in your little corner.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. But I mean, that time is healthy because everyone gets to kind of calm down. They get to think about the previous relationship. They get to kind of put your words together in a way that's not going to be combative or hurtful, but just you're able to say what you want to say and hopefully be able to listen to what that person has to say and come to a common ground. And the thing is, like, when you don't live together, you can kind of just be like, in that anger, leave. And there can be days in between that nothing happens because you're off doing whatever you want to do and that person is off doing whatever they want to do. And y'all are just kind of like, we'll figure it out when we figure it out.
Which I've definitely done that before. Yeah. Like I've gone like probably the longest is like a week and a half. I was just like, I'm not going to call him. Mm-hmm. If he calls me, I'll just send that thing to voicemail. But I don't feel like talking to you right now. Yeah. And I don't think that's like the most healthy because it's not really like a real way to deal with it. But like, I felt like I needed that space. Yeah. And it's easy to do. But when you're living together, I mean, it's not.
No. Because you always because you have to come home.
Unless you're like Sex in the City and you have that apartment.
I mean,
so you can just take a break.
Nobody got no apartment. No apartments going on at all. You gotta come home and be like, damn.
Man, I gotta see you. Yeah. And I said, and we have to talk
about it. Dang. So let's talk about it and get over with. So yeah, that's the not so beautiful part about relationships, but it's also is kind of beautiful because I feel like when you're in a healthy relationship and you have those conversations, y'all grow through that. And those are things that you're like, I love this person because they're willing to like love me through that argument or whatever.
And that's a really good point. I think that's like what made me realize like that I was in love with my boyfriend. It was because like I was like, wow, like because I think I hate the cliche that all women are crazy, but I know I have like my crazy moments, and like sometimes I'm like, okay, it's been 3 months since we had a fight. It's time. Something's wrong. Let's fight. So
she got the machete in the trunk, y'all. Like,
work it out. This is different.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
It's different, right?
But I wanted to ask you, like, since you guys, you're married, do you feel like you have like a short-term memory when it comes to arguments and fights? Like, you just like, you have a bad fight and you forget it and you guys are like able to move past it and you don't bring it up again?
So I will say, I definitely think I do have a short-term memory when it comes to fight, but because at the end of the day, you see a bigger picture beyond like just that fight or that moment. Like, you're like, okay, depending on what the argument is about. We have never had an argument where I felt like that argument was bigger than our future. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of the difference. Like, when you get married, some of those things that you used to argue about, like petty stuff, you do learn how to pick up the battles a lot quickly because you do live with this person. You see this person every day. You don't have time to be arguing with this person about taking out the trash or doing the dishes. Like, I'm going to tell you one time. If you just, I'm gonna start dropping mad disrespectful hints, but we're not gonna keep going back and forth about this same thing. Like, take the trash out, do the dishes, be done. But
so do you have that, like, where he just doesn't do the dishes?
Yes.
Okay, that is literally like it's a fear of mine because I'm just like, I hate having like dishes in the sink, but he doesn't mind it.
Yes,
and I'm just like, am I going to be annoyed every day?
But so there are some things like, but him leaving dishes in the sink is not a make or it's not a make or break. Yeah. You're not gonna break up with that person because they left dishes in the sink. Yes, you would like them to do the dishes. Yes, you like the trash can is clearly full. Take it out. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, it's super annoying. But is it something that I'm gonna go say I'm gonna get a divorce with you because you didn't take out the trash? Like, how petty do I sound? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think eventually they get it. Yeah. You have to be really creative. Like,
it's like
nagging them really doesn't work.
It's like passive aggressive.
It is, but for some things, you do have to be passive aggressive. You have to find that thing that's like not actively annoying, but also annoying. Yeah. Like, for example. So on our refrigerator, we have like a little chalkboard. And so I have like my honey-do list up there, which is like everything that I want him to do, like concerning different things that are coming up, trips, whatever. It's mostly become the thing that, like, because for me, like, if you tell me something, I will remember it. And I can pretty much keep up with it unless I have like a billion things going on, then I have to write it down. But for him, like, I can tell him something and then
forget it.
It's gone. So and then I was like doing the whole like, can you please just do the dishes? Can you please just do this? Like, whatever. Didn't get anywhere. So I just started writing stuff on the honey-do list. So every time you get past the refrigerator, you open the refrigerator, anytime you're in the kitchen, what do you see? Do the dishes, take out the trash, do all these things. And then after a while, what happened? Then you hear the subtle mumble under the breath. Oh, you're just going to keep putting that up on the chalkboard. Just going to keep telling me to take this. I mean, I'm not going to keep wasting my time
that's true.
And my energy telling you to take the dishes out, do the dishes, take the trash out, whatever. So do what you need to do.
See, mine is very stubborn. So if I keep asking, it just doesn't happen.
So just try something different.
I just have to I have to be really passive aggressive because it like literally has to be his idea.
Yeah.
Or it's not a good idea.
So just not his idea. Put it on there outside the calendar. It's on the things are on the calendar.
Yeah.
Like, just subtle reminders every time you go in the kitchen. One man doesn't open the refrigerator.
They're in there a lot. Mm.
So
that's a good idea.
And this wasn't something that I came up with overnight. I had to
improvise.
Oh, Jesus. Mm. Yes, I had to figure out ways. I had to have powwows with fellow married people that have been married forever.
Yeah.
You find out that like
I think that's really
men
crucial
are
when you have
definitely
someone
the
like
same
that.
people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are, there's just
They
some
really
things.
are.
Some things are just XY chromosome issues. And so you'll find that out when you step outside of your little comfort zone of trying to make everything perfect and like actually step out and talk to other married people. You find out that a lot of the problems that y'all have are the same. They're not really problems. You just got to figure out how to solve them.
That's all small stuff. Like there's a book. It's called, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff.
Yeah, I bought them.
Really? Did you read it? But like, I mean, that, like all that stuff, like not doing the dishes, like just, not cleaning up, like, just being super annoying.
Yeah.
It's all small stuff. And it's like you said, like it's not going to make or break like the bigger picture of like your relationship and what you guys are trying to build and develop.
Exactly.
So in the moment when you hate them so much and you're arguing, like, and you want to say that their mama sucks, just to do a ding, even though you really love her, but you just want to say it to get on her. Right. Don't say it.
Yes, please don't. Please don't say anything about your spouse's mama.
Yeah. Don't do it.
For sure. So, like, what are some tips that you think are helpful in having constructive arguments?
Well, I think like a lot of like just like knowing yourself and like self-realization and just like being able, because like when you get mad, if you don't have that good like self-awareness, you're not going to be able to draw yourself back and say, hey, like, this is stupid, like stop it. So I think like once you like, you need to, and that's why I think it's important for anyone who wants to get into a relationship, before you do, have a good knowledge of self and understanding of self. Because when you get into those heated moments, like you really need to bring yourself back and say, hey, like this is not important in the grand scheme of things. Like if you're a person who like focuses on the moments and that's what makes you're not going to have a successful relationship, because those little arguments, that small stuff is always going to blow up your world.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll definitely say, like, I thought that I had a very strong sense of self, like, and I think that I did, but so it wasn't until I went to therapy where I was able to learn how to communicate effectively. Like, I think I had a strong sense of self and like what I wanted out of a partner, but to be able to communicate that effectively is very different.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, if you don't feel like you have, and just going to therapy, I had things that I needed to work out that have really helped me to be able to listen and respond in an effective way. So I definitely think like, if there are any issues of, self-love or things that you need to work through that you feel are constantly coming up as an argument in your relationship, then I definitely think it's wise to seek outside help.
Yeah.
To try and figure those things out so that you can start having constructive conversations.
No, I agree. Like I have some friends who like one of the main arguments with them and their like significant other is, oh, you don't tell me I'm pretty enough.
Yeah.
And some men just don't do that. And it has nothing to do with like your looks or your appearance. So I think like when it comes to that, like if you need your spouse to like validate you, I mean, they should compliment you every now and then, but it's not like a deal breaker. And I mean, obviously if they're with you, like they find you attractive. But if you need that validation, like I think that's something that you probably need therapy for. Yeah. Because it's something.
Or just to figure out like what's going on.
Yeah, like why do you need someone to tell you that?
And a lot of people don't, well, I'll say a lot of women or even men don't feel like, they don't see that. Like there are certain red flags that we just don't see because that's kind of where we've been our whole lives or who we've been our whole lives. And sometimes you need that external person to just say, girl, you don't have to live your life that way. Like there's this whole other life that you can have if you would just allow yourself to have it. So, and
we do like insecurities get in the way a lot too. Like some of those like heated arguments is like, is it really something he did or is it something you're insecure about?
And that's a really, really great question. Yeah. And a lot of times when you're in that situation, you don't think about that. Exactly. It's always like after the fact, like, oh, was I being like annoying? Probably.
It's probably 75% annoying.
Yes, I was being annoying, and it's fine. Happy you love me anyway, but
right.
Yes.
I just think about Beyonce flaws and all.
Yes.
Because I am annoying.
For sure. No, I've definitely started asking Donovan, like, in certain, like, social situations, I'll be like, being annoying? Like, am I talking too much?
I started doing that.
Because, I go on and talk and, like, be asking these, like probing questions.
Like, last
and
weekend
like,
I did that. I was like,
am I doing too much?
I was like,
probably.
Please tell me. I was like, please tell me when I'm being annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, am I annoying you right now? He's like, not right now. I was like, was I doing it like 5 minutes ago? He was like, yes. Like, I was like, can you just keep telling me when I'm being annoying?
But for me, I'm like, oh, I did it 5 minutes ago. Cool. Like, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing now. Then it's fine. Don't worry about it.
And then, like I said earlier, like I kind of like it sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, I mean, the people love it. The people love it. But yeah. So any other tips? I'm trying to think of anything else. I would say, like, one of my main tips is if you feel like you're going back and forth with your significant other and you're really not getting anywhere, take a break.
Yeah.
Just take a break, walk away. Go.
I like that whole, like, the do's and the pros and cons list. Like, right? I mean, if it's that serious and you guys keep going back and forth and you're arguing about the same subject matter the whole time, like, you probably need to do like it's like that movie, Why Did I Get Married, is where I got it from. Like, why do you want him? Why don't you? And if the why you don't is longer, then you need to step away. If the why you do is longer, then you need to, like, figure out why you keep arguing about the same thing.
Yeah. So, true life, I've never done a pros and cons list.
I haven't had the need either, and it's because I haven't done it. I know, like 75% of the time, like, I'm being annoying.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say 75.
I know, like, the other percent of the time, it's him. And I just need him to understand that he messed up.
And that's how I feel. I've never done a pros and cons list because I always tell people, because people will ask me, like, how do you know? Well, so let me just give you a background. Like, I was never the person, I was not the typical girl that was, like, planning her wedding and, like, wanted to get married and have kids and all this stuff. Like, miss me with that. I was not even that type of person ever. Then I met Donovan, and, like, it was kind of like, and it's always like, and I always tell people, if you can't explain it, that's probably the person. Because, like, I can't explain, like, what it was about this person, but it was like, and he will tell you the same thing. Like, he was also I'm never getting married. And I was never getting married. I was going to have, so this is my plan, okay? I was going to graduate from med school. I was moving either back home, well, not in Maryland, but I was moving to DC or New York. And when I turned 40, I was going to gift myself with an adopted little girl, 3 years old, with cute little Afro puffs. And we were going to live in a penthouse and be fabulous. Like, that was my life goal. That was my plan. And then God said, hey, girl, got a little something for you, girl. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I was like, oh, so I'm about to get married. This is cool. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, it was never like, what am I going to do to, like, stay married? It's like, I care about this person. So am I willing to give up this person being in my life for this argument? Yeah. Yes or no? You know what I'm saying? And usually, like, you know, if I go off and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, even if I have valid points, could I have said it differently? Yeah. Could I have said it in a different way to make it more so that you will understand what I'm saying? Not like, I just need to be married, so how am I going to keep this marriage together? Like, I don't ever think about that. I just always think about, like, this is my best friend. I don't want my best friend to leave me and think I'm a terrible person. How can I fix it?
That's a good point. See, I was like the opposite. Like I was a girl who planned a wedding at 5 years old, but at the same time, like I never, I tell people, like I didn't have many boyfriends, like because although like I've always wanted to have like a family and get married and do like all that, like I didn't want to do it with anybody. So I never like I was a selective dater.
Yes.
And I just like if I knew you weren't it, I was gone. I was like, all right, well, this was nice.
Yeah.
But I don't see it.
It was cute.
So then like I started thinking, so then like as I got older, I was like, well, maybe what I wanted as a child isn't really real because I'm like, you know, I'm super like focused on my career at the same time. So I'm just like not really like about the BS. And then like I met Tabaris and, you know, it was just, we had our bumps in the road, but it was just something about him. And I could never let it go. And that's how I knew. I was like, okay, this is the guy. And cause like we had our differences, but I could not let it go. He couldn't let it go. And like, we're here for a reason.
Yes.
And we're like the same person, which is why we argue. We're the same person, but it works. When it's good, it's great.
Yeah.
When it's bad, it's bad for like 5 minutes.
Exactly. And then you're like, let's go Netflix and chill.
And then we joke, like what I like about us is like we'll have a fight about, I don't know, like something stupid. And then the next day we start joking about it. Like,
remember you
were wrong when you said that, right?
Remember when you said that stupid shit?
You sounded so dumb.
For sure. Yeah. So any other helpful tips you can think of? That's my big helpful tips.
I mean, I think we covered it all. Like just know yourself, realize that your future is so much bigger than this like stupid argument that's probably fueled by alcohol.
May or may not be. Sometimes it's not. But could be.
It could be. Sometimes it plays a part.
It could be a Henny rant.
Hennessy it does good to you, but it does you bad also.
I don't like Hennessy, so we know who that comment applies to.
Me.
I've tried Hennessy.
I go to the Dak Shack and I get Henny Ritas.
It's not for me. It's not for me. But yes. So 1, know yourself. 2, if you don't know yourself, seek help.
Yeah.
3, if you feel yourself getting heated in an argument, take a break.
Yeah.
And 4, just evaluate the argument. If it's big, if you don't feel like it's bigger than your relationship, be willing to have a conversation or even be willing to let it go because it's not worth it.
And I think it's good. I mean, we didn't mention this, but like having the right friends is good.
Oh yeah.
Because 100%. Some friends, like I realized I had the right friends, or maybe it's a combination of me having the right friends and me having the right guy. But like when we get in arguments and I tell them and like I might be like, okay, I'm so done, guys. Like my friends check me. They're like, girl, shut up. Like you need to
preach.
Yeah, like they'll tell me if I'm wrong and they'll tell me if he's wrong. And if he's wrong, they won't tell me to leave him. They'll tell me, okay,
this is what you need to do.
Just talk to him and try to work it out. And maybe they'll tell me, give him some time, give him some space, and then work it out. That's how you know you have like, you need like, it really takes a village. I mean, for any family.
Does.
And you need to have like good people in your corner who aren't going to encourage you to break up your happy home because of a stupid argument.
110%. 110%. Having good people in your corner that's going to fight for you in your relationship. And like you said, check you like, girl, I was telling my friends like, right before we got married, I'm like, I think y'all like Donovan more than you like me. Like, I mean, where does your loyalty lie? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm, like, and part of it was because like, I had never really dated anybody, I guess, that people were like,
all over.
Oh, Shari, you're wrong. But now, like, everyone meets Donovan, like, oh, he's such a great person. I'm like, I mean, he all right. But yeah, they will like let me know when I'm wrong. They will let me know when he's wrong, but I need to extend some grace. Like 110%, I agree with that. Yeah. So that'll be 5.
Yep, 5.
Have some great people in your corner. Yeah. So that was awesome. Any last words you want to leave concerning that topic? Or?
I think you should. I mean, always love with an open heart. I think that's like the it should be the fundamental of like any relationship, like always have an open heart. And I think that's like really how you able to get past it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 110%. And again, I hate to keep referencing how I knew Donovan was the one, but you know, when we went to it was premarital counseling, but it's before we got engaged. And they talked about like loving your spouse like how Christ loves the church.
I love that.
And so like really understanding how much grace God extends you. Okay. And really extending that to your partner is how y'all would get through a lot of things. When you remember that time when you told God you weren't going to do that again and you did. Mm-hmm. Hey girl, he remembers. But yes, that is a really great thing that I try to remember when I need to extend grace, but I feel like I can't because it hurts my soul.
Yeah.
Like, get on my nerves. But remember that time when I told God I wasn't going to do it again? I did 3 more times.
All the time.
For sure. Yay! That was such a good topic. Good job. Cheers. Good job. Mm-hmm.
But looping into that topic, I think it's what you wrote on your blog like a few weeks ago, was it? About learning the love languages?
Important.
Yes.
Very important. So if you have not read that, you need to go to www.drmrs.com and go to the posts and such tab and look at the love languages tab. Love languages will save you a lot of arguments. And then when you do argue, you'll remember like, oh, her love language is touch. Let me just go and lay on her for a little bit. So important. So yes, if you haven't taken that quiz or read the book, talk with your partner about it, 110%. Go to my blog. You can read a little bit about it, take the quiz, and I promise you it will make your relationship at least 50% better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
For sure.
Because I mean, it teaches you how you communicate and how they communicate,
Exactly.
and then you bridge that communication gap.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, thanks, Fran.
Yay!
All right. So our next segment is travel, which we both love.
Yes,
we love travel.
Love travel. So we both recommend that for your next vacation or just vacation with your girls, go to Santorini and Mykonos and all the Greek islands because they're so amazing.
So Greece, I recently went. So I went the first week in July, and it was, I wish some of y'all will be able to see my face there, but
yeah,
it was amazing. It's like,
it literally looks like you're in a picture, like a painting the entire time. It's unbelievable how beautiful it is.
Yes. It's in any picture that you've seen on Instagram, none of it, it doesn't Facebook, do it justice. Tumblr, wherever you view your pictures, your auntie's photo album.
It's not. None
of it will compare to what you can see with your own eyes.
It's beautiful.
So
did you try the pizza there?
I didn't. Donovan got some pizza so we went to, in Mykonos, we went to Paradise Beach, and Donovan got a pizza there and he liked it.
You didn't have it?
No, I didn't have any.
So like me and Savaris, like we wanted to, because we went to Italy, right? Like that was our next destination. And we were like, let's try the pizza here. Because someone in Athens actually told us like the pizza in Greece is good. And I wasn't planning on trying the pizza because I was like, it's Greece. Like they're not known for their pizza.
Yeah.
But that pizza was amazing.
Was it?
It was good. It was like better than New York pizza.
The pizza in Athens, because my friends went to Athens first and stayed a couple days before we all met in Mykonos, and they said the pizza was really good there.
It was better than like in Italy.
Yeah, that's what they said. And the pizza in Italy was really good. That's why I went last year. It was amazing.
Yeah. So like a tip for if you really want to see like the Greek islands, if you're going to go on a trip, fly into Athens and then book a flight from Athens to Santorini or take the boat. because if you try to fly from any American city to Santorini, it's going to be super expensive. You have to fly to Athens or just any European city. It doesn't really matter. Fly to any European city and then book a flight to Santorini. When I looked at the time, like I did my flight from Athens to Santorini was like $30. It's like some of those like European city flights are really cheap.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When you're in Europe, like spend the money to get from the US to Europe.
Yeah.
Because when you get to Europe, you can fly those little in-between country flights for $30 to $50.
Or you can take the Euro train.
Yeah.
It depends
or
on where
you
you're
can
trying
take the train, depending on what you're doing.
If you want to stay on the land, take the Euro train.
Yes.
If you want to go on the islands, it's still cheap.
Or if you just don't want to be on the train forever. Because,
I
always say that because I went from Berlin to Mykonos, and so I flew from... When I first looked, and that's why I can agree, because when I looked at even the flight from Berlin to Mykonos was like stupid. It was expensive. So I flew from Berlin to Athens, and then I flew from Athens to Mykonos. And then when we got to Athens, they had like a, what are those? The little travel... clubs. Yeah. The clubs, and like I think the lady like saw us in distress and confused, and she's like, "Here, take this free coupon and go to the the travel club." And so I just went in there and like drank wine and ate smoked salmon sandwiches.
As beautiful as Santorini is, the airport sucks.
Okay, so I didn't fly from Santorini. I fly from Mykonos, and it was also very bad. And it was also equally bad because our flight was like at 3:45 a.m.
Oh, that sucks.
To Paris. So
that is early.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Well, I had originally bought the flight from Mykonos before we decided to go to Santorini. Before we decided to go to Santorini. So I had originally bought the flight from Mykonos, so I had to change it. So it was either like 3 a.m. in the morning or like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I wouldn't get there till late, and I wanted to be able to do something in Paris. Yeah. So I just bit the bullet. We got there, took a nap, and then went out and explored. So it wasn't bad. Nice. But Greece is definitely amazing. It should be on your travel destination list. So we did Mykonos and Santorini. I didn't do Athens. But Mykonos and Santorini were a lot of fun. Mykonos is more of like a party kind of island. So we did the Paradise Beach, the Tropicana Beach Club there. And that was kind of like a party, like a beach party, like day party type of vibe.
Nice. That sounds fun.
And then the next day we did a nighttime party. Oh, Cavo Paradiso or something. Which, not for me personally, but my friend who I was with really wanted to go, so I went with her. And it was like a lot of techno music and stuff like that, but it was interesting. I've never been to a techno club before.
Is there a lot of like Romanians there, and they like do that?
We met someone from. We met an American, and then we met some other people from like London and stuff like that. Like it was super dope. Like I said, it wasn't anything that I would have planned by myself, but I don't regret the experience. And we were there, and we stayed till like the sun came up, and then we took pictures. It was really fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah. They're definitely party islands
for sure.
Like we found a bar. It's like called Two Brothers in Santorini, and like they had this shot where like first of all, the bartender, he's like giving you shots, and he's taking shots too, and he's just like lit with everyone. And there's a shot called Headbanger. He puts a helmet on your head.
Oh no!
You take the shot, and he gets a baseball bat.
Oh no! I didn't run into that bartender.
We just watched it. We were like, people were really into it. Like,
I'm sure.
People kept coming up to the bar like, we want the headbanger, and like they were like super into it. And I was just like, that's too much for me. But we stayed up till like we watched the sun come up too. We like crawled back.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we were. And then I think the next day I don't even remember. Oh, we did Little Venice, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
And like I said, like if you just want to walk around, and they had like high-end shopping, low-end shopping, souvenir shopping, any type of shopping that you want to do, restaurants, drinks, watch the sunset. It was beautiful. So that was Mykonos. And then Santorini was more like a vacation. So if you are just going to go for just you and your husband or boyfriend or
it's perfect.
Whatever.
It is literally
perfect.
Like our hotel had like, it was complimentary breakfast in bed.
Fun.
It was perfect.
Yeah. And then so we did like the black sand beach there, which was amazing. I liked it.
Yeah, but like
mine was soft.
It was really.
Did you go? So were you at the part where there was like a resort?
No, there was just like a bunch of just restaurants and stuff. So I walked onto the black sand beach and I was like, oh my God, it's nothing but rocks.
Okay, so I think that was quite possibly the one that was by our little Airbnb or whatever. Yeah. But there's like a resort where there's like different restaurants, like it's like a whole street of like restaurants and hotels where the beach is, and it was like the sand was soft.
Like we just like we didn't because we stayed in Aura. And then we drove, we took like the moped like bike thing to the Black Sand Beach and like just like picked a spot for like lunch or whatever. But
in the Black Sand Beach there was hotels and restaurants?
There was restaurants. I didn't see much hotel. I didn't see the hotels really.
Okay.
It kind of reminded me of like Miami, but not really.
Yeah. Maybe we're in the same place, but maybe it just took a few years and our sand was a lot softer than yours because Donovan and I were definitely in that sand like,
I walked on it and I was like, never mind.
No, I loved it. I was like, we were sitting in it, taking pictures. I was rubbing my feet through it.
Really?
Like, I was really feeling like a Wakanda woman in the Black Sand Beach. Like, it was awesome.
Funny. I was honestly trying to figure out because like, like a lot of the 90s R&B songs, it's like they make love on Black Sand Beach. And I'm like, this is hard. What were you guys doing?
Y'all was on the wrong Black Sand Beach. But yeah, so we did that. And I would definitely also 100% recommend a catamaran. Did y'all do a catamaran?
No, we didn't get to do that.
So yes, do the catamaran. Ours included food and drinks.
Nice.
And it was just amazing to just swim
in
the waters.
See the sunset?
Yes, we saw our
really
Airbnb had a great picture. No, my pictures don't do it justice, so I haven't put any of them up. But yes, so yeah, I really enjoy Greece. So 110% agree with Sophia. If you're flying from the United States, fly into Athens or fly into another. Like we flew into Paris. And then like flew from Paris everywhere because that was like the cheapest destination from Jacksonville. Because who has time to drive anywhere? Not me.
Yeah,
like when you are coming back from an international flight, the last thing you want to do is drive another 2 hours or whatever.
I don't do Orlando. Like I'll fly to Fort Lauderdale or I'll fly to New York and then catch my flight.
Yeah.
But like I refuse to drive to Orlando.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive.
So that's our thing for Greece. So so next is our tip for the week. And we kind of talked about it before as far as our love languages. So like Sophia said, if you want to go to www.drmrs.com and read about those. So what is your love language?
Mine is touch.
Okay.
I need attention.
Same. Quality time and touch, baby.
Yeah.
So there's quality time, touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and acts of service.
Yep.
So
I don't care about the acts of service or the gifts. I just really want attention.
Yes.
That's what matters to me.
But like we said before, figuring out where you are in that spectrum can really help you communicate in your relationship a lot better. Because I'm like touch, quality time, and Donovan is like words of affirmation. Like just tell him he's being a great person and he'll just do great things.
Same.
So.
That must be like a man thing.
Yeah. So since this is the first episode, we don't have any questions, but we do want to let you guys know that we want to answer questions later on. So if you have any questions, you can send it to the Huxtabelles@gmail.com. That's THUXTABELLES@gmail.com. Seems a lot longer than it really is. But yes, the Huxtabelles@gmail.com, and we will answer your questions anonymously unless you really want your name to be out there, which I'm sure none of y'all do. Yes, we'll answer them anonymously on the podcast. So anything else you want to mention? Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah. So we thank you guys for tuning into the Huxtabelles podcast. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.